A 4-stroke, 6.5 horsepower tiller valued at over $3,000. Wow! You heard right. Simply make a purchase of $75 or more between October 13th and December 27th, 2025, and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win this powerhouse machine to make your next planting season even easier. Winner will be announced on December 29th. Visit us at Bloombox Goodwill and Rosal. Terms and conditions apply. Let's bloom together with Bloombox.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums. Belfast Estate Limited, over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course the Sunblast juices, Thomas Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Know your favorite store? Dial it now. 612-1253. That's Mega. You can rely on Mega for some real deals on name brand clothing and electronics. High quality, low price. We are a wholesale and retail store located in Calabishi, right on the main road. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram at Mega Deals Dominica. Like our page. Check out our stuff. Call us. Visit us. Would appreciate that. Come try it on. Love it. Buy it at Mega Deals. Your one and only online and brick and mortar store. Mega Deals is also on wheels. We make it convenient for your shopping. We deliver straight to your door. Email us at info@megadealsda.com. Rely on Mega Deals for some real deals.
If it's on the block, we'll talk about it. A few hours ago, we received some very interesting news I want to share with the public at this time. The former Prime Minister, Mr. Edison James, was again in court this morning. Remember a couple months ago, it was placed in a cell. One judge ruled this morning that his constitutional rights were breached at that time. And Mr. James is on the telephone to share the good news. Mr. James, what can you tell us at this time?
Yes, but thanks for having me, and let me say hello to your listeners. Yes, as you indicated, and you recall that some months ago, Magistrate Loader placed me in the cell for what I considered and my lawyers considered a breach of my constitutional right not to be denied my freedom except in accordance with the rule of law. We took the matter to the court, and this morning the court ruled in our favor that my constitutional right was breached and my right to liberty not to be denied my liberty except in accordance with law. And the judge accordingly awarded some measure of damages and our cost. So we be happy for that. And I want to right now thank my lawyers, Leslie Thomas, King's Counsel out of England, and Miss Harris of Harris and Knight and Harris, and Gildan Richards, who were my legal representatives in this matter. So that's how it is, and I'm grateful that happened.
How do you feel, Mr. James, after you heard the judge this morning?
Well, I feel vindicated, and I think it is something that all of us must take cognizance of. If we think our rights have been breached in any way, especially our constitutional rights, we should not be afraid to seek redress. And I think it's a lesson for all of us. I mean, things happen, but we should not be afraid to approach the court, whatever the results are in the end. And I hope that Dominicans will feel, those who might be in a similar position to me, that they will feel that they too can approach the courts when their rights are breached. I mean, there's a lot of discussion now about people being concerned about things being done that are not in keeping with the law. We're talking, I think I heard you this morning talking about the question of quarrying and this sort of thing. And I agree with the position that development activities will happen in the country, but there are laws which guide these development activities, and I think where the citizens feel that those laws have not been adhered to when development projects that affect them happen, then they should feel free to go to seek redress in the court. I don't think anybody would be averse to any development activity that is in the interest of the country, but those development activities are guided by law. And so if we feel that their rights are reached, and so then people should be free to go to let the court adjudicate.
I'm happy you brought that up, Mr. James, because I get the feeling, based on the question, the statement made by the Prime Minister earlier, that they were at some site, and I knew you took that matter to court, and it appears then, based on the sentiments, that they only are at the site they're using because they were blocked, and this matter has to become a legal matter. What would be your view on that?
Well, Matt, I think on some occasion in the past, I told you that I was not going to litigate this matter in the public, the matter you're referring to, just to say that, I felt it was my right to go to the court, to ask the authorities to abide by the law and let the court decide, and that is where it's at. So I want to reiterate that we have to recognize, and we do recognize, that the country will get involved in development activities. But those development activities are guided by law. The particular matter I suspect you're referring to has to be guided by the Physical Planning Act and other agreements that we have entered into. And so while we cannot, I don't think we should oppose government development activity for opposing its sake, but the government also must recognize that there are laws within which these things are guided and abide by the law. That's all.
Mr. James, I know you've been listening to the issues surfacing there in the media in the past 2 days as it relates to your United Workers Party and the delegates conference and the leadership issues there. Do you mind to chime in if you have any views on what has been going on with your party? It seems it's been under the microscope.
No, Matt, I have no interest at this point in time in getting involved in that public discussion at this point in time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. James. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Mr. James, who, of course, just won his case in the court, constitutional matter there. So Mr. Loda has been made to pay his constitutional rights were infringed. So those of you who seem afraid to challenge the system, you can also always be vindicated by the system. And Mr. James, you see, has been vindicated for the breach of his constitutional rights, put in a cell a couple months ago by Magistrate Mr. Loda. $122. We're gonna come back, Dominica. We're gonna come back.
officially white potato season in Dominica. To celebrate, Bloombox is giving you the chance to win a 196cc 4-stroke 6.5 horsepower tiller valued at over $3,000. Wow! You heard right. Simply make a purchase of $75 or more between October 13th and December 27th, 2025, and you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win this powerhouse machine to make your next planting season even easier. Winner will be announced on December 29th. Visit us at Bloombox Goodwill and Roseau. Terms and conditions apply. Let's bloom together with Bloombox.
Dominica Q95 Radio is opened for your business in collaboration with the National Development Foundation of Dominica. Get ready to join Q95 Radio and NDFD for Nature Island Small Business Buzz, a live radio program bringing in empowerment to small business ideas and entrepreneurs across Dominica every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m., offering a unique national platform for small, medium, and growing business enterprises in Dominica. Together, we'll aspire to connect, advertise, learn, collaborate, and witness small business entrepreneurs thrive and succeed in the fertile broadcasting soil of Q95 along with the NDFD. Join us on our journey every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. One unbroken, exciting hour of free Q95 Radio small business promotion as together we explore all the challenges, the setbacks, the setups, the comebacks, stories, the history, the startups, the breakthroughs, the financing, the sweat, the toil, the sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the triumphs, the business plan, the overall success in pursuing your small business dream come true in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Join veteran broadcaster Franklin Peter Moses and Mr. Donald Bocasio, highly skilled, qualified, sought-after business and entrepreneurial manager, small business development expert, and strategic business coach. Together, we're taking you and your small business to the pinnacle of success in the Dominican economic landscape. So don't miss Nature Island Small Business Buzz every Tuesdays and Thursdays right here on Q95 Radio, the big station.
Think about the generations and we want to make it a better place for our children and our children's children, so that they know it's a better world for them. I think they can make it a better place.
Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about how we can help the vulnerable members of society, our children, the elderly, and differently able? Are you interested in small business, education, job creation, and the environment? Then it sounds like you're ready. You're ready for Let's Talk program, a new uplifting show on Q95 every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. hosted by United Progressive Party. Together for progress.
Hardware and home improvement, building supplies for you, kitchen appliances, even home decor too. Lumber, lawn, all your garden supplies, plumbing, welding, electrical supplies.
Visit Do It Center at the former J. Nassif Hardware location on Goodwill Road. Call us at 255-6890.
Do it Center.
We all have it in collaboration with Title Partners, TBS Radio, Begin to Financial Express, Going Global Entertainment, and the Sandman present the 2025 Dominican Music Awards, Saturday, January 3rd, 2026 at the Intercontinental Hotel, 6 p.m. The Royal Red Carpet entrance. All the partners include the Sandman Calypso Artist of the Year, Texia New Artist of the Year, ACS New India Assurance, Calypso Artist of the Year, Nature Island Press Production, Gospel Artist of the Year, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited Band of the Year, Do It Center Social Media Influencer of the Year, the Republic Bank Photographer of the Year, Q95 FM Platinum Partner, Be part of the greatest national celebration of Dominican artistry, heritage, and the strength of our creative economy as we honor excellence across all genres and recognize the cultural contributions of our artists, musicians, and musical technocrats. Support the Creole Headbeat of the 2025 Dominican Music Awards by joining our esteemed partners list and contact us at 616-3457 or creoleheadbeat@gmail.com. The 2025 Dominican Music Awards, January 3, 2026, Intercontinental Hotel. Together, we can create a world-class award celebration that inspires pride, empowers creatives, showcases the beauty of our culture, and reinforces Dominica's cultural identity and creative economy.
Let's take a few calls, and of course, we'll dive right into this morning's discussion as it relates to the Daybrush project brought to a halt while major players discuss the matter on Monday. Somebody's on the telephone. Are you there, caller? Yes.
Yeah, I'm here, Matt. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm glad you started where you started this afternoon. I'm glad you started with victory and you started with a situation where victory is needed. Matt, I want to talk a little bit, please, For this last 15, 20 years, Matt, there's been a process in Dominica where mistakes are just being made in all things involving the public by the government. And the government is never brought to justice on the issue. It's always a come in and talk to the people after the fact. Come in and talk to the people after the fact, in spite of many attempts by the people to talk to government before the fact. It never happens before the fact. And we always come back to this thing that the Prime Minister comes and he puts on this smile and let's talk. No, Pat, at some point you have to let justice execute for that to change. And I want to call upon this environmental movement and this issue in Daybrush. It's time for the courts, for Roosevelt Skerrit. We're doing too much of this kind of thing, and it's like his responsibility. You see that Prime Minister? That Prime Minister's worst aspect of Dominica is an economic liability, because everything that we do, it costs us more because of the way that Roosevelt Skerrit does the things that he does. He's an economic liability. And at some point, we have to deal with Roosevelt Skerrit in the court. We need to take this thing to the court, make sure it gets injuncted. We need to stop doing this sitting down, dilly-dallying thing with Roosevelt Skerrit and his fancy talkers on these issues. That bullshit has to stop. God bless.
God bless you too. Of course, we'll listen to the Prime Minister this morning as it relates to the project. We also heard from Mr. Kozio Frederick, the Minister of Environment, and the PAL rep of the Marigot constituency. Let's listen again. He said, yes, all major players will be, discussing the issue on Monday. So the project is now brought to a halt at this time as we speak.
We have agreed to happen is that all of the government have a part to play in this process. Forestry, environment, physical planning, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Chief Surveyor, among others, will meet on Monday along with the developers and contractors, and to go through the documentation, go through the issues and the concerns, and to see how in a more expedited fashion then those issues can be addressed. But the reality is, my only appeal to the general public is that we have to appreciate why this is being done. This is being done to facilitate international airport. I will be the first to say that in the process of seeking to achieve the airport, we should not cause any harm to any other thing. But it is not the first time that we have had a quarry operation in Dominica. We've had several. And in everything you do, there'll be an impact on the environment. Whether you're building a home, whether you're building a school, whether you're building a hospital, whether you're building a road, a footpath, a retaining wall, you see, there's going to be environmental impact.
But scientists will also tell you that there are ways of mitigating against the impact. There's restoration, there's conservation practices that one can employ, and sometimes the environment might be even better than it was before. So there are things that can be done to restore the environment and so forth.
We're very excited to have the engagement of the developer and the contractor in putting some of the issues that the public have at rest and ensuring that everyone understand the context in which we are operating here at the Stonefield area. This area is earmarked as an area for quarrying, for extraction of material, one of the better qualified areas. And so we're encouraging everyone to understand that as part of the process in our development, we have to do some of those investments, and also extraction material is an important piece. But also we're very mindful that there are concerns about the impact on the environment. There are concerns about excavations. And we want to tell the public that we do our best here to ensure that we do it within the ambits of the law, and that everyone is guided, that we have a smooth process moving forward. So in the following next week, we will have meeting of all of the relevant government departments again to put some clarity to the way forward. But at the end, we want to ensure that this continues, and we could have positive progress in ensuring that the project that we're highlighting, which is the international airport, can continue to grow, and we can see development in our own time.
We had some concern between the two constituencies. It's shared with Honorable Jose Frederick and I. They're quite fortunate to have two parliaments, but it's shared, and we're just under some pressure with the environment impact. So we just come together on hand on this side what's going on. So we get the feedback as the Prime Minister alluded. We're going to pause the quarry or the operation until Monday, until planning and everybody sit down and assess and make sure they get everything right to facilitate this ongoing process. Because if they do not mind the rocks and so, it will have a major cost impact. So we have to go through with the mining and make sure we get everything, dot the T's, cross the I's, and make sure the environmental impact is done properly, so the public will be aware and notify as we have our public consultation taking place. We have about 3 or 4 of them took place already. We have one coming up on the 6th. So we're going to inform the public and make sure everything is done right and continue the project.
We've written several times to find out where is the AIA, can we see it? And you know what, Matt? The planning laws of Dominica require that if an EIA is mandated by planning for a project, a public project, it must be made available to the public for review.
That is right.
That's the law of Dominica. They've not been able to produce an EIA. And bear in mind that long before a report called an ESIA report is available, there are several other steps to be taken, and hence documents. First of all, there has to be a request from the project. Hey, we're planning to do this project. We need planning permission. So they need to provide a preliminary description with preliminary drawings and designs that cannot surface yet to the public. Then planning says, okay, if you want to go forward with this, you have to help us get to grips with what is the potential impact of this on the people, on the economy, on the water, on the trees, on the soil, etc. You have to do an ESIA. And here are the terms of reference for doing an ESIA. So planning writes and delivers to, in this case, MMC, the terms of reference for an ESIA. Those have not surfaced anywhere. Then after that, the project select somebody to do the work. Mm-hmm. A gentleman was assigned the responsibility to do an ESIA for the airport. He's produced a report, we have been told, reliably, but that report has not surfaced. And interestingly, when we wrote to planning to ask under the laws of Dominica for access to that report, planning says they have received no such report. As a matter of fact, planning says they have not received a report.
I'm trying to wrap around my head what is really taking place or happening with the government. We have, the history of the background of the international airport. It's an established fact that the international airport will be built regardless of what criticism we have about. It is an established fact that if this project was being undertaken or financed by world institutions such as the World Bank, in the Caribbean Development Bank, what is happening and the issues we are having would not take place because these institutions would have ensured that all the proper studies are done. The people impacted would be aware and participate in the studies, and the project then moves on smoothly. It is a fact that such major projects, you will encounter difficulties at some stage. And it's also obvious that the necessary studies to undertake this project was not done. I'm one of those who believe that it is a waste of money to build a 10,000-foot runway for Dominica, now and in the long term, and etc. But this is the government decision. They are taking that decision. But for heaven's sake, he was there. The project will be completed. He will do it. You even said that the Chinese will finance completion if the government cannot finance the project. So why can't you take your time and ensure that the projects and the things that are associated with the projects are done properly? It is not for you. It is not a political thing that you're doing. It is in the national interest you're doing. And you, your children, and generations to come will be impacted by the bad decisions that you make now. So why can't you take your time? In a normal country, in a country where things are vibrant, you will say we talk too much, but what can you do? You call the people out, they will not come out. In a country where things are different, this matter would not go that far. Because you know what? The Bar Association, we have people in there that will decide, regardless of what, I'm going to take the matter to court in the public interest. The landowners might give them assistance to take the matter to court. The people in tourism, like the taxi association, etc., were impacted because this river, they are using it for tubing and so forth, whatever the cruise ship system is on. They too can take this matter to court. But it cannot be, they will not do it for whatever it is, financing, political fear of victimization, etc. But it is the responsibility of the government, for heaven's sake, to ensure that such a major project, issues and development activities that will impact on the nation forever. You're promoting Dominica as a nature island. So therefore, even the airport that you're building will fail if you're destroying the very thing that have to sustain the airport. I can't understand it. I just cannot understand what it is that is preventing the government from stepping back and say, you know, the project will be completed. Let us take our time to make sure we do it properly for this generation and for generations to come. The most I can do is to call on the government, and particularly the main decision maker of the government, Mr. Ruth Bell-Skerry. So the airport will be built. You are sure that the airport will be built. So the works that are associated with the airport, you have not done the proper studies. But if you have done the studies, and the Chinese that are not learning Chinese because you are instructing them or they follow your instruction, the least you can do is you sure that you have, what you're doing is okay. Publish the report. Embarrass those of us who think that what they're doing here is bad. Publish it to prove that we have done the necessary studies. We are aware of the impacts on it, and we have ways to mitigate the impact. That is how it is done throughout the world. What will it take for the government to understand? Mr. Ruth Bell-Skerry, Prime Minister of Dominica, I am urging you to take this approach. Take this approach for you to make sure that this project that you're doing, which Dominicans accepted, they only do not like the approach you are taking to it and the impact it's having on the people, and that could have been avoided. Please, sir, take a step back and do the things the right way. That's the most I can contribute to this matter.
Thank you. Annie, another environmentalist is asking, what is the way forward? Where do we go from here as we wrap up?
What I would say is the only time this government seems to respond is when you what they call boots on the ground. So Concord is an interesting community. On one side of the river, it's part of Marigot, and on the other side is part of the Kalinago territory. So the first person who actually told me about that development was the chairman of the Marigot Village Council, who was so concerned that, he was trying to get information and there was no information coming through. That's Mikey Pastor. Mm-hmm. So subsequently we have been talking, but I think To me, the time has come for the Marigot Village Council to start mobilizing people in that area all the way to Concord, and those on the Kalinago chief to mobilize and we come together. And in fact, as many Dominicans as possible, because this thing is really hurting Dominicans in general. Just imagine you're driving, everybody uses that road to drive to the airport, and when you're passing, you see all this mud on the road, and they don't even clean up the place. They just leave all the mud for you to drive in. Yeah, I think the time has come for us to come together and make us go on the road and let these people know this is not going to continue. We are not going to lose an entire river for an airport, because we are right in the source of the river. It's not like what they did in some of the other areas is closer to the mouth, so maybe you can rehabilitate. If you destroy the source of the river, then the river is gone. So
that's a serious issue to stand.
Yeah.
Thank you, Annie. I'll see you again sometime. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Mother Earth is crying.
To be honest with you, Mark, I speak on behalf of the Kalinago community, because initially when we released the statement as a council, like I said, we had consultation with the Concord community, as well as other community members who personally approached me and expressed their concern about the work that were going on. And we decided to put out the statement, which of course had, various reactions. Some people were for it, some people were saying, okay, we are against development in the community, which wasn't quite the case, because as an indigenous population, we live very closely with the land, and of course over the years we have been the keepers of the land. Generally, we protect our forests, we protect the biodiversity within our community, and research has shown that the indigenous people have contributed a lot to the preservation of the environment. And so when I speak on behalf of my community, it's because we are genuinely concerned about the significant portion of the forest that is being destroyed. And as a Kalinago community, especially I speak on behalf of the Concord community, where all of the community members use the river on a daily basis, I would say. And for those of us who live out of Concord, we use the river quite frequently. And based on the conversations I've had with the business persons across the area, people who use the river directly and people who indirectly benefit from a clean river, they are not happy with what is going on. The forest is vital to environmental health, climate resilience, and culturally and historically, it's very significant to our people. So the current level of destruction that is taking place there is unacceptable. And it reflects a serious lack of respect to our lands and our heritage and our commitments to safeguard lands, especially within the Kalinago area. And generally Dominica, because we keep on promoting Dominica as a nature island. And if we continue to destroy our natural resources, we're going to lose them, because natural resources are things that you have, and if you do not care for them, if you do not protect them, when you destroy them, it's not going to come back. And we must say that we have been blessed with a lot of rivers, but we need to continue to protect them and to continue, having the benefits of these resources to our people. And our community, especially the Kalinago community, depend a lot on the river and for day-to-day survival and use. So that is why we, as a council, are very concerned about what's happening up there currently.
I know you're very concerned, Annette, but here's my question or my point here. Your power rep is the environment minister. Is he going to intervene in this destruction taking place there? Has he spoken to you, your council? What are your concerns there?
From the conversations I've had with persons from his ministry, they have not been getting any information at all from whoever is constructing the project, whether it be planning. They said they have absolutely no idea of what's going on. I'm not sure who to believe, unless I have documents to say, okay, these people were involved or they were not involved, then I wouldn't really know. But from conversations with them, they are not in any kind of communication with persons who are constructing the airport, and they are left out of the loop. So
no, but you're making you've made a statement that is very interesting. You said conversations with them, So what about your power rep, your minister? Have you spoken to him directly about what is going on?
I've spoken to the Kalinago Development Officer who represents the territory and who is the liaison of wisdom between the Kalinago Council and his office. I haven't honestly met Jose Frederick face to face. It's very difficult to meet him on those levels. So hopefully, my first engagement after we released the statement was to meet with them and have a community consultation with all the leaders. However, I understand that he wasn't present at that first meeting that was called within the community. Our office was never notified. So someone from another council sent me a message asking if I was going to attend, and I was like, I'm not aware of this meeting. And at the time when they sent me the notice, I was out of state, so I couldn't even be present. And it was way too late to try to get another councillor to be present at the meeting. The other meeting we had one of the councillors represent, and again, we were never notified of the meeting. So it's like they organized 2 meetings, but we were never notified as a council to be present. Initially, when I spoke to Mr. Benoit, when I called him after visiting the site, we actually did a site visit as a council. He said that they were organizing community consultations and they would have informed us when they were going to have this consultation, so we would be present. But like I'm telling you now, we were never informed. We were never notified that they were going to have
The
consultations.
buck stops at the desk of those who are in charge of Dominica's policy direction. They told us they were going to make Dominica the first climate resilient country
in the world.
You know what that means? It means you will be taking care of things that we know from science contributes to a safe climate, forest systems, soil systems, river and water systems, animal life, both bio life and surface life. You will take care of the subsurface, your rocks, your volcanoes. You wouldn't destroy any of that. Not that you wouldn't do anything, but you would use it in a way that is sensible and that allows future generations to be able to enjoy the nature island in the same way that we have. So what Chief has just reminded us, we have ended up in 2025 at the mercy of a group of rulers who seem to want only to build more buildings, whether it be at Mount Daniel or up in the north or wherever. They want to build. You know, Trump says, drill, drill, drill. Our people seem like they're saying, build. But if by building you're destroying the very foundation of the island on which you're building, are you committing suicide? Or are you committing murder and genocide? Are you committing future generations of Dominica to a land without trees? A land without...
They say pressure is burst pipe, huh? So these are some of the voices you've heard in the past few weeks. on this ongoing matter in the Debrush Mountains there. I have one villager on the line who prefers to remain anonymous. But he seemed very concerned as to just what he's hearing now. Are they too late? Have they had consultations? Let me speak to one person from that community. Again, he prefers to remain anonymous. Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Matt. I'm doing fine.
You seem very concerned about what's going on. Why?
Oh, yes, we ought to. Because, Matt, the Debrush River, as we all know, have been serving a long life purpose in that area. Number one, that river has been serving the community of Concord, as well as the Carib Territory, Marigot, and environs. Because when you really look at what is going on with the river even starts dropping its potential. Because as we speak, the Hibiscus Valley Inn, they're doing river tubing. And as we all know, right now we are in the tourist season. And they are having tours. When this river is constantly muddy and murky, how can you take visitors or take people and have them in this kind of water? They can contaminate rash. They can get disease and other things from the dirty water and stuff. So we are very much concerned, and we have to be concerned, because even the people of Antrizal, in the long beyond, I know these people used to be coming down to the Hatton Garden River to wash, bring their family to take a bath, and so forth. So when this thing is going on at Debrush, and then it's going to damage the river, or we're going to lose the river, what is going to happen? I heard the Prime Minister said yesterday, I cannot remember everything, but you played a clip from him, Matt.
Hold on. Let me remind you, so you can, of course, repeat or of course, remind yourself what he said. Let me allow you to hear.
What we have agreed to happen is that all of the government will have a part to play in this process: forestry, the environment, physical planning, the office of the Prime Minister, the Chief Surveyor, among others, will meet on Monday along with the developers and contractors, and to go through the documentation, go through the issues and the concerns, and to see how in a more expedited fashion then those issues can be addressed. But the reality is, my only appeal to the general public is that we have to appreciate why this is being done. This is being done to facilitate international airport. I will be the first to say that in the process of seeking to achieve the airport, we should not cause any harm to any other thing. But it is not the first time that we have had a quarry operation in Dominica. We've had several. And in everything you do, there'll be an impact on the environment. Whether you build a home, whether you build in a school, whether you build a hospital, whether you build in a road, a footpath, a retaining wall, you see, there's going to be environmental impact. But scientists will also tell you that there are ways of mitigating against the impact. There's restoration, there's conservation practices that one can employ, and sometimes the environment might be even better than it was before. So there are things that can be done to restore the environment and so forth.
Are you still there, sir? Yes?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so you heard the Prime Minister.
Okay, the clipping you just played, that's not the one I was speaking. But he You played a clip with him speaking about yesterday the situation at Debosh, and he mentioned that history will not be nice.
Okay, all right.
That's the one I wanted to play. If anybody try to stop it.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, I'll try to find it now. Yes, go ahead, but keep going. Yes.
Okay. So now that the Prime Minister, Mr. Cozier Frederick, and others coming on board to try to speak to the people, it's only because they realize the people have been speaking. Nobody is regarding them. Nobody is coming to address them on the matter. And it looks like a few petitions have been out. So they realize the people are serious in standing up against what is going on. So they're coming on board now, trying to make it look like they have the people at heart or their interest is for the people. No, that is false.
I think I found what you're looking for, and maybe you can make more reference to it there. This one. The
airport project is going on satisfactorily. We're now doing the works on the terminal building and all the other facilities, amenities on site. So work is progressing satisfactorily. Obviously, one would appreciate that a significant amount of aggregate and sand will be required for the international airport. The aggregate, the stores must have a particular density, because having this huge planes landing every day on this plane on the runway, you need to have good density with regards to the rocks. Now, I believe that the government has a duty and obligation to pay attention to the concerns that have been raised by the residents and other interest groups with regards to the operations. We are not dismissing the concerns. I think looking at some of the concerns that they have, and also, of course, the scientific data, some of them are misplaced. Some of them are lacking any facts. But that notwithstanding, I believe that we need to have an opportunity to hear from them and to take them on site. And so I will hopefully early next week we'll invite some of the interest groups to come on site so they could look at the operation and to give us their opinions on how they believe whatever challenges they have identified could be mitigated. I mean, no matter what you do, Gavin, there will be an impact on the environment. It is what you do to mitigate against it, against the impact that will be important. You build a house, you're going to impact the environment. You build a retaining wall, you're going to impact the environment. But there's something that you can do to mitigate against whatever impact on the environment. So it's a matter of ensuring that the environment can be protected, but at the same time, the airport can be built. I don't think that we have the luxury in Dominica to choose one over the other. I think we need to ensure that both can coexist and that we address the issues that people are raising from time to time. My only caution to some is that we must not use that as a means to stymie the project or to stop the project, because I think history would not be kind to those who are attempting to do so. But I believe that there are people among who have genuine legitimate concerns based on their love and respect for the environment, and I think that we will certainly continue this, and I will personally lead the government's engagement with the people.
So since that statement earlier, the one we played this morning, he and a team, you heard Mr. Cozier, you heard the PAL rep from Marigot, a group of persons visiting the area earlier this week. So he's meeting now as we speak on Monday with a group of planners or those involved. I think that was your major concern, caller. Was it?
Yes. But so you are telling me, from what he just played there, you are telling me all the time the people have been speaking out. Where were they? So they were not hearing. They didn't realize these people exist. They didn't realize that something was going on, that the people has a concern. You see what I'm trying to bring across?
Yes, I see that. Yes. So you're saying there was no consultation in that community? None?
No consultation. From what I know, there was no consultation. If they have met with anybody, it's a few people among the clique. But that is not the time for cliques. That is the time that you have to meet the people of Concord, and Marigot is a part of the constituency of Concord. So you have to meet with the people, find out their concern, even before these things have started, because they are in full bloom of their project. So now he is saying it's going to be halted for them to meet on Monday. But in his utterance, he is still saying that when they meet, it's to plan things that their project will continue. So actually what we are seeing, the people have no say. So it doesn't matter what the people do. They will come and smile and grin like all is well, like they're taking the people concerns. But that is not being met, or that is not being done. It doesn't matter what the people do or say, they will still continue. So does it make sense?
You find it doesn't make any sense at all? No.
It doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't even make sense now you come saying, because all the time, everybody else will moo. So right now, the moo are talking.
But you said earlier you're part of a committee. Have you ever seen Mr. Cozier Frederick on that matter?
I have never really get to see Mr. Cozier, or I have never really get to speak with him, because I am not connected directly to the thing. But as a villager, we have been speaking and meeting to see how we can get to the authorities and whatever.
So have you guys been invited to that meeting on Monday?
Pardon?
Have you guys been invited to the meeting on Monday?
Well, not from my knowledge. I heard the Prime Minister speak about it, so let's wait and see what will take place. And then I heard the power rep from Marigot said that they're going to have meetings. So I think we should wait and see what is the outcome of the meeting and what is being discussed in the meeting. And then from there, everybody can know what they're going to do and what will be happening.
All right, caller, thank you very much. That's a villager very concerned there from that area, Concord area. Are you there, caller? Yes. Yes, hello. Caller.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How are you doing?
And how are you?
I'm here.
Matt, the gentleman who just spoke to you a while ago there, I just want to give him kudos. Well said, well executed, because Matt, we all know in Dominica that's how the government operates. They're taking people for dogs, and they wasn't expecting that. If you have such a project to do, you have to meet and discuss with the people. They're taking the people for dogs, but when they realize it's backfiring on them, is when they want to meet the people. It doesn't matter how they do it. I still appreciate them for that, but that should not be the way, Matt. You have to treat people well, people not animals. It's because they realize it will backfire on them, so they rush to do something, and now they want to meet with the people. So the caller, well said, Matt, appreciated. Thank you.
Caller, thank you very much. More telephone calls coming in 205. Yes, hello?
Yes, Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you and to all listeners.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Matt, I am a former Cardinal chief, and I am disappointed in what is taking place in Dominica, and especially at Debosch. I just want to ask a couple of questions, Matt. Is this very Prime Minister that proclaimed that Dominica was going to be the first climate change country in the world? And wasn't it this very Prime Minister who sold our national bird to Germans? Wasn't it this very Prime Minister who violated the national park laws to build this Kempinski Hotel? Under this very government, we're also seeing construction going on on the World Heritage Site in Pokase. And now we're seeing demolition of our forests and our environment in the Debosh area, coupled with the rivers. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the interest of this gentleman? Apart from that, Matt, with the Ganakan products going on, you see the sabotaging of most of the rivers, in Rai River, in the Castlebus River, in the Pegua River, demolition of most of the rivers, in the Melville River. And we have to ask ourselves, how interested is this administration in the environment of our country? So those are some concerns that I have, Matt.
All right, caller, thank you very much. Let's listen again to, of course, the Prime Minister and, of course, the other officials.
What we have to happen is that all of the government have a part to play in this process: forestry, the environment, physical planning, the office of the Prime Minister, the Chief Surveyor, among others, will meet on Monday along with the developers and contractors, and to go through the documentation, go through the issues and the concerns, and to see how in a more expedited fashion then those issues can be addressed. But the reality is, my only appeal to the general public is that we have to appreciate why this is being done. This is being done to facilitate international airport. I will be the first to say that in the process of seeking to achieve the airport, we should not cause any harm to any other thing. But it is not the first time that we have had a quarry operation in Dominica. We've had several. And in everything you do, there'll be an impact on the environment. Whether you're building a home, whether you're building a school, whether you're building a hospital, whether you're building a road, a footpath, a retaining wall, you see, there's going to be environmental impact. But scientists will also tell you that there are ways of mitigating against the impact. There's restoration, there's conservation practices that one can employ, and sometimes the environment might be even better than it was before. So there are things that can be done to restore the environment and so forth.
We're very excited to have engagement of the developer and the contractor in putting some of the issues that the public have at rest and ensuring that everyone understand the context in which we are operating here at the Stonefield area. This area is earmarked as an area for quarrying, for extraction of material, one of the better qualified areas, and so we're encouraging everyone to understand that as part of the process in our development, we have to do some of those investments, and also extraction material is an important piece. But also we're very mindful that there are concerns about impact on the environment, there are concerns about excavations, and we want to tell the public that we do our best here to ensure that we do it within the ambits of the law and that everyone is guided, that we have a smooth process moving forward. So in the following next week, we will have meeting of all of the relevant government departments again to put some clarity to the way forward. But at the end, we want to ensure that this continues, and we could have positive progress in ensuring that the project that we're highlighting, which is the international airport, can continue to grow, and we can see development in our own time.
We had some concern between the two constituencies. It's shared with Honorable Jose Frederick and I. They're quite fortunate to have two parliaments, but it's shared, and we're just under some pressure with the environment impact. So we just come together on hand on this side what's going on. So we get the feedback as the Prime Minister alluded. We're going to pause the quarry or the operation until Monday, until planning and everybody sit down and assess and make sure they get everything right to facilitate this ongoing process. Because if they do not mind the rocks and so, it will have a major cost impact. So we have to go through with the mining and make sure.
So it appears that, yes, they're meeting on Monday, but they've made up their mind about continuing the works at Debosh. Let's get back to the telephone. 2:11 is the afternoon time. Good afternoon to you on the call. Hello, talk to me. Hello? 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 Yes, good afternoon to you. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
I'm fine, Matt. Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
You want to share your views, I suspect, on what is going on there, but we keep mentioning this order. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, Matt, what is going on there is of great significance to Dominica.
And I want to place on record this afternoon that the United Progressive Party stands in solidarity with the people of Dominica in expressing grave concern over the operations which is currently underway at Dubois. This development represents a flagrant disregard for environmental protection protocols and the fundamental principles of transparency and accountability that should govern all major development projects in our nature isle. But what's happening there is like from back to front. This government to date has not provided any evidence that an EIA, that is an environmental impact assessment study, was done prior to the commencement of the construction of the international airport. They have provided no evidence that an environmental assessment report was done. Neither an environmental impact assessment or social assessment impact study was done. None of those. We are hearing that something may have happened. I happened to pass at a meeting very briefly, a meeting which was being held in Concord some time ago concerning the matter at hand. And Mr. Benoit, who represented Sierra 5 and MMCE, conceded that the government had an environmental statement. But if the public were to do a research on what is an environmental statement versus an EIA or an EA, they would note that for projects of that magnitude, we would need an EISE, because that project has serious implications, and the environment is just one of them. Of course, there are several linkages. You heard several callers expressing concerns about how that project is impacting the community. The project will have several impacts on the environment, biodiversity, aquatic life, both in the freshwater, the river, and the marine environment.
Well, what about concerns? I'm sure we've heard the Prime Minister saying that voices like yours seem anti-development. Like, in other words, the effort is coming and they have to do what they have to do, but you guys are stalling the process. How would you react to that?
Well, Matt, I think every Dominican or most Dominicans are in support of the construction of an international airport, because somehow most people think that the construction of the international airport will open a gateway for economic growth. That has not been proven to us. We have not seen any economic assessment on that project. Normally, just like if you're entering into business, you will carry out a study to ascertain the viability of the business before you take it on. Any responsible government would embark on an assessment study to determine the viability, the economic viability, which is just one of many assessments which were supposed to have been made prior to the construction of the international airport. But for argument's sake, most Dominicans seem to have accepted that the international airport will bring significant economic benefits to Dominica, and therefore most of us support the construction of the airport. However, the problem we have with this government is that this government continues to abuse the people of Dominica. This government continues to take for granted the intelligence of Dominicans. This government continues to insult us, because we know very well that whilst we support the construction of the international airport, it must not be done to cause irreversible damage to our heritage, to our environment, to our people. Where that project is taking place at Dubois today involves two forest reserves, not one. You have the Central Forest Reserve and you have the Northern Forest Reserve. One would have thought that cabinet led by the Prime Minister of Dominica would follow the laws under the Forest Reserve Act, whereby they would write a letter to the Director of Forestry informing of their intention to undertake such a project with great magnitude. and to enter into a discussion with the appropriate forestry authorities before it is discussed in cabinet, and to take all the necessary steps and measures to discuss with all the stakeholders, and then eventually to go on the ground and discuss the project with ordinary people, and that's where consultation comes in.
But they're having a meeting on Monday. My last question to you: do you think this meeting is coming a little too late?
But that's the point, Matt. I'm just trying to show how this government continues to do things wrong. And then the Prime Minister talks about, for those who want to stall the construction of the international airport, history will not be kind to them. I want to say this afternoon that history will not be kind to the Prime Minister for undertaking a project without doing it properly. Nobody in Dominica is saying stop the construction of the international airport. What people are saying is to construct the international airport subject to proper measures and procedures. And thus far, this government has not done things properly as far as the construction of the airport. There are so many questions being asked. We are not even into the CBI revenue. We have not even gone there as to account to Dominica exactly how many citizenships were sold, how much revenues have been generated. You understand? We have not even gone there. We are so far just talking about the environment. Matt, this is very, very significant because at the end of the day, the land can be compromised. You're looking at land degradation, you're looking at contamination of water sources and disruption of natural drainage systems. You're looking at pollution from dust and particulate matters affecting the neighboring communities, loss of agricultural land, threat to food security, interfering with the forest reserve, affecting aquatic life. We can go on and on and on. So I'm calling every Dominican to join those who have understood and continue to understand what is happening up there. We need to get this government to be responsible to us. We have children. Dominica is known as the nature island of the Caribbean. What is happening at Bird Watch does not represent responsible governance. Our brand is nature. Our brand is based on our God-given gifts. And this government seems very irresponsible and interfering with the resources God has given us to the point where they do not seem to have a problem in causing irreversible damage to our environment. We have to stop them, Matt.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. There are other people calling, other voices. Let's do this again. Arthur reminds us there is no permission for what's going on here.
To find out where is the AIA, can we see it? And you know what, Matt? The planning laws of Dominica require that if an EIA is mandated by planning for a project, a public project, it must be made available to the public for review.
That is right.
That's the law of Dominica. They've not been able to produce an EIA. And bear in mind that long before a report called an ESIA report is available, there are several other steps to be taken and hence documents. First of all, there has to be a request from the project. Hey, we're planning to do this project. We need planning permission. So they need to provide a preliminary description with preliminary drawings and designs that cannot surface yet to the public. Then planning says, okay, if you want to go forward with this, you have to help us get to grips with what is the potential impact of this on the people, on the economy, on the water, on the trees, on the soil, etc. You have to do an ESIA. And here are the terms of reference for doing an ESIA. So planning writes and delivers to, in this case, MMC, the terms of reference for an ESIA. Those have not surfaced anywhere. Then after that, the project select somebody to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
A gentleman was assigned the responsibility to do an ESIA for the airport. He's produced a report. we have been told reliably. But that report has not surfaced. And interestingly, when we wrote to planning to ask under the laws of Dominica for access to that report, planning says they have received no such report. As a matter of fact, planning says they have not received. The buck stops at the desk of those who are in charge of Dominica's policy direction. They told us they were going to make Dominica the first climate resilient country in the world. You know what that means? It means you will be taking care of things that we know from science contributes to a safe climate, forest systems, soil systems, river and water systems, animal life, both bio life and surface life. You will take care of the subsurface, your rocks, your volcanoes. You wouldn't destroy any of that. Not that you wouldn't do anything, but you would use it in a way that is sensible and that allows future generations to be able to enjoy the nature island in the same way that we have. So what Chief has just reminded us, we have ended up in 2025 at the mercy of a group of rulers who seem to want only to build more buildings, whether it be at Mount Daniel or up in the north or wherever. They want to build, build, build. You know, Trump says, drill, drill, drill. Our people seem like they're saying, build, build, build. But if by building you're destroying the very foundation of the island on which you're building, are you committing suicide? Or are you committing murder and genocide? Are you committing future generations of Dominica to a land without trees? A land without...
All right, Dominica 223, some important voices there on the matter. The mining matter there in the Dewash. Let's go back to the telephone. Good afternoon to you. Yes?
Good afternoon to you, Matt Delty. How
Yes.
are you doing? Good afternoon to you.
Trying my
Good
best, sir.
afternoon,
Uh-huh.
Matt Delty, before I even get started, I want to state who I am, Lennon Matthew. So there's no mistake. And I would really like to say that history will judge Afi Martin very well as a man who have championed and fought for the people of Dominica. And I know he gets a lot of flack because he is one of the folks that have shown what it is to be a civic-minded citizen of a country. He could have been anywhere as an economist, as an educated man, and chose to fight for our environment, even in his old days. I have not heard somebody champion for that cause, and I think at some point he deserves a national award. I'm putting it out there, Matt Peltier, because we're talking about how history is going to judge people, and I will put my bet on history judging Afi Martin well. So while he's alive, let's give him his flowers. But Matt Peltier, I have been one of those who've been on the issue of an EIA for several years. Even with the geothermal project, the government did an EIA because it was a requirement for financing and not because they wanted to. And I know that because I read the document. I saw the different EIAs that were done based on financing. But Matt, let me kind of bring this to perspective. And for those who listen in, like I said before, I'm a registered geologist. You talk about earth systems and science. I understand how this operates, and one of the reasons I speak is because people like me who have gone out there to get experience are the most valuable resources for our country. And there's one way we're going to provide that is through our communication, our conversation. But Matt, recently there was a hurricane that passed in Jamaica, Category 5, first time ever, caused some deaths, about 45 and over $9 billion US dollars in damage. 2017, we had a hurricane that destroyed Dominica. I don't have to explain what happened.
Maria,
right? Matt Peltier, what was, and I want you to communicate with me so people really understand what good governance vision is about. What was the cause of this hurricane, Matthias? What is the current cause of these hurricanes?
Because climate change.
It's climate change. Climate change driven by what?
By I would say bad policies around the world, by governments.
Well, it's industrialization. It's climate change driven by industrialization. What is industrialization, Matthias? Industrialization is, you just go look it up. People listening, it's the development of factories, burning of fossil fuels, consumption of fossil fuel, dirty forms of energy. You're talking about coal and so on. And the main culprits are the European nations, the Chinese, India, the US, and all those industrial nations. And they, during the 50s, realized that their thrust for development caused adverse environmental conditions, to the point where 20 years later, we're feeling the effects of the industrialization, aka development maturity. And if at that time they had the foresight to realize, hey, some of these things we're going to do are going to cause a Hurricane Maria, it's going to cause destruction in Jamaica, they would have done things differently to ensure that they would not cause an increase in global temperatures. And here it is, in this day and age, we hear about COP26 and COP there, and Kozia Frederick, our minister, is traveling around, and several others, fronting down on these people talking about climate resilience, because they are trying to fight a global problem that has been caused by human greed, human thirst for money and power and development. Isn't that correct, Matthias?
Yep.
So having that perspective, understanding where it is. Let me talk about international airport again. Jamaica is noted as a developing country. There is an international airport in Jamaica for years. They have millions of people in their population. There is one in Montego Bay. There's one in Kingston. I've been there myself, right on the Palisades Spit in Kingston. It's a developing nation. Jamaica, a country bigger than Dominica, couldn't manage the international airport, so it's now managed by a Canadian company. You can go check it out. People listening, go check it out. You see what I'm talking about, Matt?
Yes, I'm following you.
So when we the next phase is when we send people to Parliament, they create laws. We pay them a salary. They campaign. They go to Parliament to pass laws, and they set up by a constitutional or by a legislative process, the planning division, the forestry division, the environmental division. The responsibility of these people is to ensure they protect the resources of the state, how we utilize those resources, how we develop those resources for the long term and sustainably, right? That is what they're there for. So whenever structures like international airports and ports and marinas and all this huge structure comes in, first of all, the main concern of the government is to the people of Dominica. It's to the country. It's to the people who put them in there. So if you go in there and pass laws as to a process, you can't now violate these laws in the name of development, which if you don't do properly could cause things like global warming. You see where it comes in full circle, Matthias. So when I hear the leader of the government says, I don't care what you guys do, but the airport is going to be built anyway, whether you jump high, jump low, and I'm going to just come there to pacify you. Let me tell you something. People like that, I'm going to be frank with you, need to be in jail. They need to be locked up. Because not only are you stealing the state by taking their money to pass laws, but you're violating the laws that you yourself pass. So how do you expect anybody in the country to obey any laws? By your own actions. So you've therefore shown you have no moral compass, no ethical compass to govern any country. Martin, these are serious things, and every time I hear these people talk, I'm getting the feeling they don't understand their responsibility as a government, and the people don't understand their true responsibility as citizens of the state. Matt, you mentioned a gentleman name. I don't know who these people are, but I heard you mention there's a Benoit guy hired by the government, but he says he's there to represent MCC and CCC.
Yes, that both companies engage in the international airport, not the government. Both companies.
So he's representing both. So a Dominican gentleman is representing the contractors, and so who's representing? Let me give as somebody who has experience in engineering, construction. I work with an engineering firm that have been doing large construction myself. You know where I work. You can go look it up. I'm not going to say that. I'm not advertising for them. But myself, let me tell you something. So let me give them a little example. Let's say, for example, you have your rules and your laws in place, and I'm bringing it down so the local man can understand. And let's assume you have approval. You had approval for a quarry. And the environmental law says you have to measure the turbidity of your streams, right? The company who's doing that has to make sure they have, straws, silt fences, whatever the case may be, to prevent material from going down into the river. The Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Planning has to make sure that these things are in place. So they need to have people on there looking for the best interests of Dominicans and scientists attached to the ministry to make sure that they take stream samples every day to ensure that the discharge limits are met. That's just a practical application of what needs to be done. And I'm giving you an example because we always ask for solution materials. I have taken the opportunity to look through the planning website and look through the Planning Act of 2002, I think it is. And there is also maps, figures, and all kind of stuff in the planning website that tells you approved land quarries in Dominica. I didn't see the Debonche area listed as an approved quarry. I did not see the Blenheim area listed as an approved quarry. So I want to know, how did the government start allowing people to quarry rocks in these areas without approval? And secondly, if you are using state resources, you claim, the sale of passports, to build these airports, who is giving the state and who is giving Dominica an account of how much money was spent, how many passports were sold, where are the resources, where are the materials and supplies coming from? And if it's the state resources, why isn't 90% of the people working on the airport, the engineers, the laborers, and don't tell me we don't have capacity, because if we don't have capacity in Dominica, there's CARICOM, there are millions of people in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. I bet you can amass some partnership or some amalgamation of companies to ensure that you want to build that facility. Matt, isn't that correct?
Yep.
So therefore, if you have all what I have explained to you, and you have a gentleman who says he runs Dominica, no law and no constitution can stop him, for 25 years, and he does not understand that. He has proven himself, and I'm not saying that because actions speak louder than that. If you have 25 years in office, you have a record. So I'm not making statements in prediction. I am making statements in description of what I've seen. If you have all this, and you have all this money that you put in a infrastructure, and young people are leaving the country's GDP is not increasing. You're using engineers from outside, even after you spend millions of dollars to send Dominican students to school. Myself, we're truly living in a fool's paradise. And no amount of development can transform a country if you do not have a development of minds, if you do not have a development of people, not just the gold chain and the T-Max and the Lacoste that makes you valuable, not just the airport, big hotels, a fancy marina, when the locals cannot even afford to buy a dinner in any of the hotels. These things don't make you valuable. What develops a country, Matt Peltier, is the value you add to your people, to have creativity, to develop their ingenuity, to develop goods and services that are unique to who we are. You understand what I'm saying, Matt Peltier?
I'm following you.
This era of leaders coming to pacify people because they think I am stupid, the rest of Dominicans are stupid, and they can do as they please should be over. And I'm just telling Dominicans, they don't have to listen to me because I have no interest in gaining any profit from home mortality. You know that as well as many people. I'm fine.
Mhm.
Only because I love my country and my people to understand that we are better than what is happening there. And if we do not hold the government responsible to what they are mandated to do by law, mortality, we have already lost our country. And when a country is lost because the government doesn't respect and follow the rules and laws that they set, the only other option is anarchy. And I hate to say it because that is not what I want, but that is where this gentleman is driving people without realizing it. Martin Luther King, I'm telling him that personally because he knows who I am. If he wants to be an emperor, then he can call go through the constitution and ask Dominicans to make him a king. As long as he's the leader of a democratic country, the people have the power and he needs to listen to the people. I think this is an opportunity to make that happen. Matilda, you have a good day.
Have a good day. We'll take some calls, but one of course, launch a Calypso. It's Calypso season, right? And Christmas. We're launching the latest one there from Sandy in the afternoon. Stick around. We'll come back to talk. Sandy, latest. Calypso season. Sandy's back, 2026.
Fighting over a project they were making. Two school girls were not playing, so I thought to see what was happening. They fighting over the top, and in a mad but before they wanted to make a project that day I will never forget. I have to say that is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. But they what you want, to what you want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. But they what you want, to what you want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. But they what you want, to what you want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. But they what you want, to what you want. That is the cup I want. You walk up to Ellen back, who kept advancing. People started gathering, and some of them were reporting that they came in. Future put a neck before. They wanted to capture the moment about the corporate government. That is the company want. That is the company want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the company want. That is the company want. That is the company want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the company want. That is the company want. That is the company want. But do what you want, say what you want. That is the company want. That is the company want. That is the company want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the company want. It's the classic story, but it's clean up with no nasty business. I can see what you're thinking, what Sandy's saying, what she's saying. Where she's going with that talk thing. Why the about talk when Sandy want to sing? Well, that is really wrong. Because I have noise in my song. Do not make myself worse. Oh, listen to my song. So that is the cup I want. That is the cup I want. But say what you want, do what you want. Touch. You can do what you want, do what you want. Don't nobody. You can do what you want, say what you want. You can do what you want, say what you want.
Come back to some serious stuff in a minute, huh? Stan D back in the Calypso.
Q95.
Yes, the Calypso season is upon us. Saturday, December 13, 2025 at the Factory, Valley Road. Only $20, seating only $30. And imagine elimination, VIP, $100. Come here at the beginning of the season and make sure you're there till the end. Many Californians will be competing. Only 12 gladiators will make it. The grand eliminations for the 2026 Calypso season. Saturday, 13 December 2025. Remember, 8 o'clock at the Factory. Come here, the funny songs, the serious songs, political songs, everything. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your dog and come. Sponsor Live, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. No Dominica. Big Edge Financial. Yes, Radio. Kyrie Ever.
We'll come back to talk in a minute here. Just want to share some news here. Some breaking news again. Another breaking news this morning or this afternoon there. Are we going original this time, huh? Alan Chastanet has tendered his resignation as the leader of the main opposition United Workers' Party less than a week after he led the party to a second consecutive defeat in general elections on Monday. Chastanet, 65, a former prime minister, was the only candidate from the UWP to have won a seat in the elections, which was won by the ruling Labour Party, SLP, headed by the Prime Minister Philip Chapier, who is expected to be sworn in later this afternoon. The SLP won 14 of the 17 seats in Parliament, with two independents, Stephenson King, a former Prime Minister, and Richard Frederick, both of whom served in the last peer administration. In the 2021 general election, the UWP under Chastanet won 2 seats. In a statement, the UWP said it had convened a critical meeting. It's the first since the party's defeat in elections to engage in a thorough and candid assessment of the party's current standing and future direction. During the course of the meeting, the chairman of the United Workers' Party, Harold Prudent, formally advised the gathering he had received a letter from the political leader, Alan Chastanet, in which Mr. Chastanet tendered his resignation as the political leader of the United Workers' Party.
We are open 7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meat prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Fresh market,
Creole Handed in collaboration with title partners TBS Radio, Big
to Financial Express, Going Global Entertainment, and the Sign present the 2025 Dominican Music Awards, Saturday, January 3rd, 2026 at the Intercontinental Hotel, 6 p.m. The Royal Red Carpet entrance. Other partners include the Simon Canislips Artist of the Year, Texia New Artist of the Year, ACS New India Insurance, Calypso Artist of the Year, Nature Island Press Production, Gospel Artist of the Year, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited Band of the Year, Do It Center Social Media Influencer of the Year, the Republic Bank Photographer of the Year, Q95 FM Platinum Partner. Be part of the greatest national celebration of Dominican artistry, heritage, and the strength of our creative economy as we honor excellence across all genres and recognize the cultural contributions of our artists, musicians, and musical technocrats. Support the Creole Habit of the 2025 Dominican Music Awards by joining our esteemed partners list and contact us at 616-3457 or creolehabit@gmail.com. The 2025 Dominican Music Awards, January 3, 2026, Intercontinental Hotel. Together, we can create a world-class award celebration that inspires pride, empowers creatives, showcases the beauty of our culture, and reinforces Dominica's cultural identity and creative economy.
It's 2:48. Let's take phone calls. Yes. Very busy afternoon. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Good afternoon, St. Joseph. Good afternoon, Dominica.
Good afternoon to you, my brother.
Mato, let me tell you, let me voice my opinion because the people of Dominica disappoint me. But what I want to make sure I will talk about is for the next generation of Dominicans. Mato, first to begin, Kerry have no place to try to convince Dominicans about saving their natural resources. Because this man sells 51,000 passports and more. And he cannot give Dominicans an account of none of that passport that he sells. He can't tell them how much he knows. He will not tell them how much passport he sells. How much money derived from the passport. So now what he doing now, he going to nature. What God bless us with now, and he tried to play around it. I hear this man make up a lie. That if you do, we destroy infrastructure. When we're doing infrastructure, we must destroy and then build. Matter, you cannot replace a stock of a river, especially if you're using barcode, track, or everything and damage the place. There is no way you can put that together. The only man that put that together for us is God. So I am saying, Dominicans have to come together and agree. Scary don't have a saying that he has to bring experts that not involving Dominican politics to assure Dominicans that when that project finishes, all will be well. Because Scary never moved away from telling lies to Dominica. And I have never seen a man try to finish an international airport. And by the way, the airport to me is a brother of the Douglas Charles. It does not have no feature that look like an international airport. There is nowhere we should be hustling. If we say Dominica is nature island of the world, I think we have to work side by side to make sure that airport build green. And based on the harassing or hustling to build that airport is no other for political sake. And if Dominicans convinced Scary only trying to hustle that airport for politics, they should not put politics before the well-being of Dominica. Scary has shown me, Leiden George, that he is the most unprepared person in Dominica to hold that position in the first place. For you to tell me you give it a man almost $100 million to build a hotel to employ 30 people, Astafans have been selling corned beef and sardine for over 60 years, and they cannot talk about that money. Within 15 years, Scary and the little black boy from La, you can talk about $100 million. Give me a joke. And there are Dominicans now that pay the price in the court because they wanted to know how Dominican money spent. Why can all you ask him what he think of campaign financing that very same little black boy? They are the one. That's why we don't have campaign financing. So Dominicans, I feel so bad. We have to get these guys out of power. We have to audit the Labour Party for the next 5 years. Even though they come back after that, no problem. But we have to put them out of power for us to see the damage. And if they do good, we'll put them back. God bless Dominica. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I think we.
You reading my mind, Lennon. Man, you know, Lennon sitting there telling you this. And my brother, you reading my mind, Lennon. You know, I'm saying to myself, we're going to tear up the natural beauty that we claim as the nature isle of the world to build an airport that we liable not own or somebody else benefits. And here is Lennon telling you the same thing, man. The airport gonna cost double than what we first started with, and we liable can't pay the bills, and somebody else take it over, i.e. the Chinese, like they have done around the world. Man, the insane logic that Dominica deal with, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just, you know, I'm out.
All right, you're out. We're gonna take 1-2 break for commercial sake, and we'll of course come back right after this.
Think about the generations and say we want to make it a better place for our children and our children's children, so that they know it's a better world for them. And think they can make it a better place.
Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about how we can help the vulnerable members of society, our children, the elderly, and differently able? Are you interested in small business, education, job creation, and the environment? Then it sounds like you're ready. You're ready for Let's Talk Progress, a new uplifting show on Q95 every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Hosted by United Progressive Party. Together for progress.
I just me goal winning Rosa again. Same place outside Flossies. I tried to dock in, but you had time see me. Well, story start again. Million, lot of my father with us, huh? Saka fella, I said the same thing you doing, shopping at Flossies, and you don't have to tell me the same thing you tell me last time because I'm busy. It's to hear him way. You reckon? About my pocket, boy. I won't tell you that I save money in food and drinks when I buy quantity. I save more. Oh, shucks, man. Well, when you're still telling me, I know already. Tu paga respect him, eh? But it can him up here to Palais. I will tell all my friends from London, US and Dominica to come to Floss's, right next to the Rosa Market. Open Sunday to Saturday. Floss's can't do it to you.
Tis the season for giving and winning at Eastside Trading Limited. This Christmas, we're making your holiday shopping merrier and brighter. From December 1st to December 23rd, 2025, spend $50 or more and get a chance to win $100 gift voucher every week. That's 9 lucky winners in total. 3 winners every Tuesday, December 9th, December 16th, and December 23rd. Drawn live in store and on Facebook. And that's not all. Senior Citizens Wednesdays. If you're 60 and over, enjoy 15% off on December 3rd, December 10th, and December 17th. Mark this dates down. Double points Thursday. Shop on December 4th, December 11th, and December 18th and earn double reward points. Super Sunday, December 14th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also December 21st, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Massive discounts, 5% off at Isa Trading when you spend $100. 10% off at Isa Trading when you spend $150. 15% off at Isa Trading. Spend $200 or more. Don't miss out at Isa Trading. Shop more, save more, and celebrate more this Christmas. Visit us today at Isa Trading. Make this season merry and rewarding. Only at Isa Trading.
All right, let's get back to the telephone there. Hess, good afternoon to you.
Hey, Mr. Peltier, blessings, what's up?
Blessings to you, sir.
Matt, we know not what the Memorandum of Understanding entails or what is written in the Memorandum of Understanding between China and Dominica. You know the 18-hour negotiation, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, could it be the Chinese have the handle and Skerrit have the blade? Or Dominica have the blade? What if the tail is wagging the dog, Matt? Matt, things cannot be so out of proper scrutiny and procedure and all of that. What manner of madness we are governed by where Chinese can just go and dig up a mountain? And Skerrit is that ruthless. Oh, you block him in Marigot, Edison James take him to court to back down on the operating hours of the quarry. So guess what? I'm going to take a mountain. When you can easily have barges taking those boulders on the west coast, as I have already articulated, Matt, and bring it up there. Why you want to destroy a mountain? I'm talking about mitigating factors. Mitigating factors, Matt, some major environmental disasters. The mitigating factor take 100 years. So you cannot just go and it's just like you dispose of certain plastics, Matt. It takes 100 and more years for them to deteriorate or for them to rotten. So Skerrit thinks he's the Lord Almighty. He can shoot somebody and after they die, ask them questions. Where is the EIA? Where is the how they call it, environmental impact assessment study and all those things? Now you go into the people, as I said, people supposed to boo Skerrit, boo, go in the meeting, out of all your nice setting and all your plan as he come there, he and his entourage, just start booing him and call him lawless. Matt Dominica is so far gone, Matt. I want somebody to give me a detail with this palace. I would call radio. I let everything just fall down flat and leave that damn country alone. Thank you.
Thank you too. 449-3095-9697. Oh boy, so many phone calls, so many voice notes. Let's see if we can play one there. At least before we go. Let's this one. Yes.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to
and
you.
all Dominicans. Matt, is there still a forestry division in Dominica? If yes, what are their functions as it relates to protecting our lands, forests, wildlife, our rivers, and all the living things that maintain life in the rivers? Matt, apparently, that forestry division can only take decisions on poor ordinary Dominicans. They can only harass poor ordinary Dominicans who cannot fish out of season. They cannot take a crayfish. They cannot take a crab in the gutters. They will harass them. They will take them to court. They will even want to put them in jail for fishing outside of the hunting season. But they have something like that going on at Debwash, and they cannot take any decisions. You don't even hear anything coming from them. So apparently, that kind of devastation, they have all put their signatures to it together with the planning division. How can you destroy your entire country like that? River after river, forest after forest. How can you do that and say that you are working for the benefit of the country in the name of an international airport? I am not saying that the international airport is not necessary, but are we prepared to sacrifice our rivers, our waterways, our forests, our entire country and its environment for an international airport, Matt? Matt, don't you find that it's too much a high price to pay for an international airport? Matt, if you're telling me that there's no EIA, no planning approval, nothing, then how comes that they allow them to go that far? And it's not the first time I am hearing that, Matt, when planning did not approve some of those vote boxes, those shit houses they claim that they build with the CBI for people where they have leaking faucets, they have the feces backing up in the sinks. I understood planning did not approve a lot of those projects there, but they went ahead and do it. And the planning division is sitting there like a bad dog without any teeth. But they can only bark on poor people. Matt, if these people are really doing an international airport, then where are the billboards to show the different phases of the airport during completion and what it will look like after completion and who the general contractors are, who is funding the airports, who their partners are, a date as to when the airport will be completed? Where is all of that, Matt? And we sit down there and we agree that we can have these people destroy our country. Matt, in any normal country, those departments would be made to answer for abdicating their duties and their responsibilities that the taxpayers of the country are paying them to do. And Matt, they are the same people, When sometimes I sit back and I hear Dominicans making the comparison to things that happened in America. They only feel comfortable to talk about what suits them. But Matt, what that abdicating of responsibilities and that madness, that recklessness, that disemboweling of our waterways and our forest reserves, it could never happen in America. It could never happen here without persons being arrested. Matt, every one of those developers would be sitting down somewhere in a jail cell, including those who gave the orders, including those who sit in those offices and do nothing, abdicate their responsibilities and their duties, and still draw a salary at the end of the month. What are we, the taxpayers of Dominica, paying those salaries for these people to destroy our country and not work for the Dominican people? Matt, it's time we put a stop to those people, else we will lose our country that our foreparents, our ancestors paid for with their blood, sweat, and tears. It's time we stand up and say no. It's time we take back our country. Thank you, Matt.
Mother Earth is crying.
In the beginning, by the sixth day morning, the whole creation was given birth. And then God made man and give him dominion over every living creature on the earth. Tragedy in the garden, we all know it happened. Cheerfully banished from Eden.
Let's see what will come out of Monday's meeting. Will the authorities listen to the people? Will this project come to a halt? Boy. Hey, good afternoon to you, Annette.
Mother is dying.
Down there in Lower Port as well. Hope you enjoyed your fishing lunch today, huh?
We got to become more competent. The way we protect the environment and fight for all that is good.
I've got to go though. Or should I take 1-2 more phone calls before we go? Let's try that. Mother Earth is crying. Are you there, caller? Yes?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Tempe.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I'll try to stay away from the conversation I had this morning, but I want to talk to the Prime Minister. I want to tell him as a leader, have a little respect for the people that vote for you. You get around almost 500 votes from Marigot. The people of Kingston vote for you. Get down on the ground and humble. Sometimes look at the past of Mr. Libler and Patrick John. What bring them to the downfall? My little experience I had protecting the Labour Party in Marigot. I get some tear gas, bullets was fired behind me from the former Prime Minister from Portsmouth, and I end up in a lot of activities I regret today. So I want to tell him, go back to history. Before 79, 3 union leaders go up at Mundus and they tell Patrick John, do not pass the bill. He listened to his Attorney General and he go and pass it. Even his family member tell him, do pass it, and we see what happens. People lose their lives, plenty of things happen. A plane almost jammed us on the airstrip, trying to fly out that same big as us. I see a Rastaman almost get shot. So I want to tell him, sir, I have respect for you. You have a lot of young people who vote for you in Marigot, and you're speaking highly about tourism. Get back to the people. You're supposed to even have a private meeting between Mr. James, the village council, the environment people privately, even on Sunday afternoon. Deal with the problem before it gets to this boost.
All right, thank you. Meet to the people. That's the point here. Listen to the people. That's the cry. Hello, talk to me. Yes.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I don't think the Prime Minister Dominica normal. Everybody tell you what you must do, what you must not do. You want to do things on your own. Like Dominica belongs to you. China control Dominica and is slave to China. When China is saying world boss, idiot. Thank you very much.
Our final call. Our final call. 3:08 in the afternoon. Hello, yeah. Yes, sir. Quickly.
My brother.
Yes,
good
sir.
afternoon. Let me say something. I just sent you a note a while ago, talking about the insanity that's taking place in the country. The environmental degradation that the airport is done across Dominica is far than what meets the eye. The reason I'm saying this, we're seeing what's taking place on a hillside, destroying people's lives, polluting the water, killing biodiversity. But we're not seeing what's going to happen on the shores of the sea. You remember a long time ago you had a lady talking about Master Fish Can Done from Jamaica, and she talked about the environmental degradation in the ocean, the reefs are not dying, and the fishermen had to go further out to fish. So this is what we're talking about, man. And for a country that, like Dominica, boasting what we have, trying to build an economy, man, it's going to be destruction more so than it is applause. Because here why I say that. Things are being done willy-nilly. No studies, and nobody can ask for anything, because once you ask for something, you anti-progress, which is insanity. And for someone to tell the people that, because everywhere I go, man, I'm going to say this last thing. I will look at a video to a very point where it was almost an hour long on Singapore. Singapore is a very well-developed nation, but every structure they put up, they studied everything and they did their best to save the environment. It has more people than Dominica. It has more money than Dominica. But their main thing in the architectural design was to save the environment. There's greenery throughout the city, throughout the country, and they save every bit of it they can. So what they did, they work with what they have. But we have a leader who just does what he wants, and the enablers. But these people are a liability to us more so than they are not.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll be back on your radio tomorrow morning. You know how we love Saturday morning, right? There's another big program planned for the evening. I suspect that matter, that issue will be explored a little further.
We can't celebrate our motherhood soul. She's going to give up the ghost when she can't take no more. No more. Motherhood is crying. You say the people looting.
They say pressure is burst pipe, huh? Let's find out what's going on or what will go on that meeting on Monday.
Just of those who are in charge of Dominica's policy direction. They told us they were going to make Dominica the first climate resilient country
in the world.
You know what that means? It means you will be taking care of things that we know from science contributes to a safe climate, forest systems, soil systems, river and water systems, animal life, both bio life and surface life. You will take care of the subsurface, your rocks, your volcanoes. You wouldn't destroy any of that. Not that you wouldn't do anything, but you would use it in a way that is sensible and that allows future generations to be able to enjoy the nature island in the same way that we have. So what Chief has just reminded us, we have ended up in 2025 at the mercy of a group of rulers who seem to want only to build more buildings, whether it be at Mount Daniel or up in the north or wherever. They want to build. You know, Trump says, drill, drill, drill. Our people seem like they're saying build, build, build. But if by building you're destroying the very foundation of the island on which you're building, are you committing suicide? Or are you committing murder and genocide? Are you committing future generations of Dominica to a land without
Yes, the Calypso season is upon us. Saturday, December 13, 2025 at the Factory, Valley Road. Only $20. Seating only $30. And imagine elimination VIP $100. Come here at the beginning of the season and make sure you're there till the end. Many Calypsonians will be competing. Only 12 gladiators will make it. The grand eliminations for the 2026 Calypso season. Saturday, 13 December 2025. Remember, 8 o'clock at the Factory. Come here, the funny songs, the serious songs, political songs, everything. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring your dog and come. Sponsored by Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. Flo Dominica, Big Edge Financial, DBS Radio, Kyrie FM.
Think about the generations and we want to make it a better place for our children and our children's children, so that they know it's a better world for them. And think they can make it a better place.
Are you ready? Are you ready to talk about how we can help the vulnerable members of society, our children, the elderly, and differently able? Are you interested in small business, education, job creation, and the environment? Then it sounds like you're ready. You're ready for Let's Talk program, a new uplifting show on Q95 every Saturday from 7 to 9 p.m. Hosted by United Progressive Party. Together for progress.
We are open
7 days a week with the top of the line products. Well stocked supermarket and pharmacy, health and beauty care, fresh produce and meat prepared daily, hot and cold kitchen, ready to go meals, sandwiches, salads, and desserts at your fingertips. Easy access, located on the bayfront, environment friendly, and our staff are approachable and ready to assist. Have you figured out who we are? You got it. Fresh your one stop. Fresh market, fresh market,
Creole Habit in collaboration with title partners TBS Radio, Big to Financial Express, Going Global Entertainment, and the Sign present the 2025 Dominican Music Awards, Saturday, January 3rd, 2026 at the Intercontinental Hotel, 6 p.m. The Royal Red Carpet entrance. Other partners include the Simon Cataslips Artist of the Year, Texia Rio Artist of the Year, ACS New India Assurance, Calypso Artist of the Year, Nature Island Press Production, Gospel Artist of the Year, Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited Band of the Year, Do It Center Social Media Influencer of the Year, the Republic Bank Photographer of the Year, Q95 FM Platinum Partner. Be part of the greatest national celebration of Dominican artistry, heritage, and the strength of our creative economy as we honor excellence across all genres and recognize the cultural contributions of our artists, musicians, and musical technocrats. Support the Creole Habit in the 2025 Dominican Music Awards by joining our esteemed partners list and contact us at 616-3457 or creolehabit@gmail.com. The 2025 Dominican Music Awards, January 3, 2026, Intercontinental Hotel. Together, we can create a world-class award celebration that inspires pride.
What were you doing on my life? How come I never met you before? Your free love got my heart to die. I have me begging for more. Like the sweetness of the honey from a honeybee. Like the sweetness of the soul that made by Rhapsody. I want to proclaim it to the world.
Oh boy, I've been getting a lot of requests for the song played earlier. I think from let's see, our Calypsonian. What's the name again? I'm trying to find out the name. That's the song everybody's been requesting all afternoon. Once I played it, and here's why I gone. Queen Sandy, I'm back again this Friday. Calypso in the air, boy.
Fighting over a project they were making. The two girls were not playing. So I thought to see what was happening. They fighting over the top. And in a mad but before they wanted to make a project. That day I will never forget. I have to say that they come and want. That's it, they come and want. But they want to want. That's it, they come and want. That's it, they come and want. That's it, they come and want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the most I'm right. That is the most I want. That is the most I want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the most I'm right. That is the most I want. That is the most I want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the most I want. You walk up to Ellen Papa, who kept advancing. People started gathering, and some of them were reporting that they came the future put a never before. They wanted to capture the moment about the corporate government. But say what you want, do what you want. Your passion. But say what you want, do what you want. But do what you want, say what you want. But say what you want, do what you want. That is the God I want. It's the closest story. But it's clean up with no nasty business. I can see what you're thinking, what Sandy's saying, what she's singing. Where she's going with that talk thing. Why the about talk? We Sandy want to sing.